Hey everyone, welcome into the podcast. I am really excited today to bring you a topic that is near and dear to my own heart, and that is the idea of really learning how to accept our own kids for who they are versus who we thought they would be or who we were hoping they would be, or just all of the societal expectations that we often have going into parenthood, all the things that we've dreamed about for our kids and their futures and all of those different things, the ways that they're going to behave, the ways that they're going to treat each other, the ways they're going to, move through the world, the things they're going to be interested in or excited about, hoping that they'll maybe play out some of our own dreams or things that we didn't actually accomplish in our own lives, right? Putting all these hopes and dreams and expectations onto the shoulders of our kids. And what ultimately happens is that our kids are themselves, right? And they come in as their own unique people, their own unique versions of these little humans, right? And they are often not what we expected, right? They're their own people. They like their own things. They do things in their own way. They think their own things, right? They think things in ways that we don't think about them. They have their own identities, right? So many different things that they're going to embody, so many ways that they're going to move through the world that are different than what we maybe expected or anticipated many times, right? And so that's what we're talking about today. Parenting a teenager is never simple, and it can feel especially complicated when our teen doesn't fit the mold, right? So maybe they're exploring their gender identity or sexual orientation. Maybe their passions or their appearance or personality really set them apart from their peers. Or maybe the life we imagined for them just looks nothing like the one that they're choosing for themselves, right? And when that happens, you might find yourself caught up in a swirl of conflicting emotions, right? Pride in who they are. You might feel worry about their safety. You might feel some sadness about letting go of all of your old dreams and expectations, and a whole lot of uncertainty about how to best support them. And all of that is completely normal. I know I've gone through it as a parent myself. My kids are now teenagers, 17 and 14. So you're not alone in feeling it. It's a very common thing that we all go through in different ways, right? Even when our teenagers do fit the normal societal mold, right? Which is just a lie or a box that, is false, that has no basis in fact or anything. But when they do fit that mold, even then, there are going to be moments of contention, moments of difference, moments of things that we disagree with or behaviors that, we are not happy about. So I think each and every one of us as parents can relate to this conversation today in one way or another. All right. But here's the thing that I really want to impart today is that these moments can actually be really powerful invitations to something bigger, right? The idea about really becoming more of a conscious parent, right? It's about really showing up with curiosity, compassion, and acceptance so our teens feel as safe becoming their most authentic selves as possible, all right? It's normal to have hopes and dreams for our kids. Most of us do it without even realizing it. So we picture the activities they'll love, the friends they're going to make, the milestones they're going to reach. But when the reality of who they are doesn't match the vision we had in our heads, what happens is it can stir up some pretty big emotions. So it might be fear, disappointment, or even grief. Sometimes we push back against their choices or their self-expression, and it's not because we're rejecting them. It's because we want to protect them, right? So it's coming from a good place most of the time, right? I can't say that's true for every parent, but for many of us, it's coming from a good place of wanting to keep them safe. And we're worrying about, will they get hurt? Will people judge them? Will life be harder for them this way? And other times, if we're being really honest, our discomfort comes from our own beliefs, our own conditioning, and our own need for control, right? I know I'm not alone in that one. But the thing is that our teen's path isn't meant to mirror ours. And parenting a teen who doesn't fit the mold is really an invitation to practice trust and to lean into trust, right? So trusting them to figure out who they are and trusting ourselves to support them, even when we don't have all the answers. All right. So that's what we're talking about today. Thanks for being here with me. Let's go ahead and jump in. Welcome to Parents and Teens Rising, the podcast that bridges the gap between parents and teens and helps families thrive. I'm Jasmine Chandler, teen and parent coach, wilderness rites of passage guide, and founder of Guided Passages. After over 16 years of working with young people, I know how challenging and rewarding these years can be. Each week, we'll explore real conversations, practical tools, and fresh perspectives to help you connect with your teen, support their confidence, and navigate the ups and downs. Let's rise together. All right, so you know what? Fitting in is actually overrated anyway, right? We live in a world that loves labels and neat little boxes, but the thing is that most of the world's most creative, impactful, and inspiring people were the ones who didn't fit in, right? Do you really, honestly, if you really ask yourself, do you really want your teen to look and act and think exactly like everyone else? Or do you want them to develop the courage to be fully and unapologetically themselves, right? The world desperately needs out-of-the-box thinkers, the ones who challenge the norms, the ones who bring fresh perspectives, right? The ones who give everyone else permission to be a little weird, a little funky, right? A lot more real, a lot more authentic. It's like, who wants all the cookie cutter stuff anyway, right? It's so boring. It's so boring. So vanilla, right? Do we really want vanilla kids? No, we want kids that can express themselves and be funky and be weird and be wild and be adventurous and go do things that are different, right? Go push the boundaries of what's expected or what's quote unquote normal, right? Normal is not leading to healthy outcomes. I don't know if you've noticed, but our society in general is not well, right? We have people that go to their cubicles every single day. They sit at their computers. They, have expressionless faces. They're sad inside. They come home to their frozen meal and their microwave, and they're walking around, with a shadow hanging over them all the time because they're not living the full expressions of themselves. They're not living authentically or confidently or going out and breaking barriers or going out and doing things outside of the box and living life to the fullest, right? We're all trying to be cookie cutter, trying to be the same as everyone else. And ultimately, it leaves us feeling empty and lost and depressed, right? And I know that's not what we want for our kids. So when we push them to be the same as everyone else, right, we're pushing them to actually abandon their unique, amazing talents and gifts and abilities, right? We want them to be able to step fully into who they are. And that's our job as parents, really, is to open the doorway for that, right? To allow them, to support them, to put our hands at their back, right? So that they know that whoever they are, however they express themselves, however they show up, we're there with them. We're supporting them all the way. We don't have to understand them. We don't have to get it, but they know they can count on us to be a safe place where they don't have to hide themselves. They don't have to put on a show. They don't have to do anything except for be themselves, right? That is the gift we can really give to our kids, okay? All right, so one thing I see over and over again is that teens crave one thing more than anything else. And all the work that I do with teenagers, they all tell me this, and this is what comes through in their shares, is that they just want to feel seen and accepted for who they truly are, all right? But when they sense that our love or approval depends on them following a certain path, they usually respond in one of two ways, right? Option one, rebellion. So they start pushing back against everything they think we want for them, right? And then option two is withdrawal. So they start hiding parts of themselves and internalizing shame. And neither of those lead to real connection, right? So acceptance doesn't mean you have to agree with every choice they make. It just means you create a safe space where they can explore who they are without fear of rejection, right? And if your teen is exploring their gender identity or sexual orientation, this is even more important. So research shows that LGBTQ plus teens who feel supported at home have much lower rates of anxiety, depression, and self-harm, right? We've seen the statistics, right? Overall, for LGBTQ plus youth, 40% of them have considered suicide. 14% have actually attempted, right? We know that the rates of anxiety and depression are through the roof for this group because they're facing immense challenges, more so than every teen out there, right? they have to not only deal with all the normal teenage stuff, but they have to also deal with pushing boundaries, right? Being judged, being vilified, being made fun of, all of those things, right? Not being able to get the care that they need, right? We're seeing that with all types of legislation coming out that's actually preventing them from getting the care that they need, right? That's going to help their mental health and help them to feel better about who they are, right? So your acceptance and your willingness to listen and to love and to hold space for them can literally be life-changing and life-saving, right? So it is so important how we show up, how we listen when they share these things with us. Are we jumping in with an immediate judgment or reaction, right? That initial reaction is so important, and it's either going to shut them down and make them withdraw and make them rebel, or it's going to let them lean in and connect with us even more and have us be their safe place, all right? So one of the hardest things for teens who feel different is finding peers who get them. All right. So people who really share their passions, their values, or their identities, right? And we can't choose their friends for them, but we can help them connect with spaces where they feel seen and celebrated. So one way that we can really support our teens who maybe don't fit the normal mold is to help them find clubs, things like LGBTQ plus or affinity groups or robotics teams or debate clubs or any type of club that might have something that they're interested in so that they're going to be meeting like-minded friends, right? You could sign them up for ongoing classes. So painting or jujitsu or acting or anime drawing or coding, anything that they love. They could start exploring community groups or online spaces that are designed for teens with shared interests. And the goal isn't for them to fit in everywhere, right? It's really just to help them find their people, the ones who really see them, who value them, and make them feel like they belong, all right? So practically speaking, I want to give you 5 parenting practices that you can start using today to support your teen's authenticity and identity, all right? So the first one is really just to get curious instead of controlling, right? So when they share something surprising, lead with curiosity, not panic, all right? Really see if you can, reserve all of your facial expressions for later behind a closed door and keep your face neutral and excited and welcoming, right? Because that's going to impact so much of the way that they're able to share things with you down the road, right? And so we can say something like, I'd love to understand more about what this means to you, right? So lean in with curiosity, right? Try to withhold the judgment, try to withhold the facial expressions or the shock or the dismay or anything that you might be feeling internally. Don't let it out on your face. Don't let it out in your words, right? That is going to shut them down and it's going to make them feel shame for ever coming to you, right? Number 2, check in with your own fears, right? So you can ask yourself, am I worried about them or about how other people will see them, right? So is this about their safety or is it about my expectations, right? Or my own embarrassment, right? For how other people are going to view me as their parent, right? Number 3, support without forcing labels. All right. So identity can be fluid, especially for teens. They are exploring, they're just trying to figure it out. So an identity that they have today or that they're exploring today might not be the same identity that they identify with tomorrow, right? So you can remind them that they don't have to have it all figured out right now. They don't have to actually put a label on themselves right now, unless they want to, right? If that's what feels good to them, then support them in that, right? Maybe they're already very clear about changing their pronouns or changing their name or whatever it might be, right? Wherever they're at, just stand beside them, right? Stand beside them. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to change it. You don't have to tell them it's not okay. You can just stand beside them, let them go through their process of experimenting with it, of trying things on for size, and maybe they'll keep those things and maybe they won't. And either way, our love does not change for them, right? And they need to feel that our love does not change for them, regardless of the label that they take on, regardless of the identity that they take on. They know we're solid. They know that we're there no matter what, right? And number 4 is let them be themselves, right? You don't have to get every playlist or outfit or pronoun change, right? You don't have to understand those things or enjoy them or any of that, right? But we can still show up with love. So presence matters more than understanding, right? And even if you don't love the playlist, ask them to share it with you, right? See if you can find some common ground there. Ask them questions about it. What is it that they love about that playlist, right? Help them go explore different clothing options so that they wear things that feel good to them, right? Be that support system for them that's curious about what they love, that asks curiosity driven questions about those things, right? And finally, be their safe place, right? Home should be the place they never have to hide. All right. So the message that we should be telling them and that they should be receiving all the time is that there's nothing they can tell us or show us that would make us stop loving them, right? There's nothing you could tell me or show me that would make me stop loving you. My love is unconditional. Unconditional love does not require them to change how they feel, does not require them to change how they act, how they dress, how they think, what they believe. Unconditional love is unconditional love, right? That's what they need. Okay, so when your teen doesn't fit the mold, it can feel like you're stepping into uncharted territory, right? But this isn't a detour from your parenting journey, right? This is the journey. I mean, there is no greater teacher than our kids, right? They are our biggest teachers. They are our Zen masters. They give us the invitation to our own growth and healing, right? And we can take that invitation or we can push back against it, right? But either way, they're going to find their way, and they'll find it with or without us, right? And if we want to be along for that journey, if we want them to come to us in those hard moments, we have to make it unconditional. We have to make it safe for them, right? So supporting your teen's authenticity takes courage, and it takes humility, and it takes a willingness to grow right alongside them. And it's not easy. I'm not going to lie. It's not easy. Parenting is the hardest thing on earth. I'll say that all the time. I don't think there is a harder thing to do on this planet than to parent, because we learn as we go, we mess it up as we go, we get all of our buttons pushed, all of our triggers are flying off the hook all the time, right? It's an opportunity for us to do the work on our own selves, right? To do our own inner healing so that we can show up for these humans, right? So that we can change generational patterns and be the support that they really need, right? And remember, you don't have to do this alone, right? So if you want support as you navigate these conversations and these challenges, I would love to help, right? So there's lots of links in the show notes where you can connect to coaching support, both parent coaching support and teen coaching support. Lots of ways that we can, offer support for your family. So just reach out, and together we can really create that safe, supportive foundation that your teen needs to thrive, that you need as a parent, so that you can create that family dynamic that you're really hoping for. All right. So thank you so much for being here and for doing the work to show up for your teen exactly as they are. All right. I will see you next time, and have a beautiful day. Bye, everyone.